Hey guys, and welcome to Off the Cuff.
You say that's so funny.
Yeah, I know, always.
It's a graph off the cuff.
So I just finished my latest game, Tower Raid, which should be called Tower of Death, not Tower Raid, because it's a horribly difficult game. You guys will find out soon. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about Overwhelm today. I feel like I've come a long way compared to what I used to do. Years ago, when I used to work on Flash games, I remember that whenever things didn't go my way, I really needed to break myself out of certain place I put myself into. So let's say if you got frustrated with bugs, things like that, I really needed to go for a run. Often it would spoil the rest of my day, and I felt quite I'll let it get to me a lot more. Now I feel like I've been trying to let things go a lot more and kind of just accept them for who they are, what they are, and embrace the fact that in a way embrace the madness a little bit. So working on my latest game on Saturday night, finishing it off, I didn't go to sleep at all. And back in the past, I would have kind of lost my mind a little bit, had a little mini breakdown and sat there on the couch moping and, feeling sorry for myself. But
and picked a fight.
this time, I felt like I've got it a lot more under control because I decided that I'm just gonna give myself to the process, and instead of letting it control me, I control it. So there is nothing you can do to change things when something happens, like when there are bugs, when there are problems that you are facing. There's nothing you can do to change those bugs apart from figuring out a solution. To figure out a solution, you need to work on that solution. Sometimes it's better to leave, work on something else, come back. However, if you are going to let it overwhelm you and make you feel like everything is too much, then that is just putting you further away from your goal. And if you let yourself just go, hey, look, I'm just gonna sit here and work on things and get it done, more often than not, you find that once you're at the end, it wasn't nearly as bad as you thought it was. And 99% of the time, at least with the 7 games so far, I found that every time I was facing a problem, if I was relaxed about my approach to it and relaxed about how I deal with it, accepting the fact that that's what I'm doing and enjoy it, in a way enjoy the process, even though it might not be, that part of it might not be enjoyable, but that the end goal and what you're working on is exciting and that's what you want to make. Often you find that, things happen, and without you really trying that much, you're just sitting there working towards it and it gets done. And yeah, so I'm going to report a little bit more on this as I go through my challenge, but I do feel like really working on not letting yourself fall into a pit when it comes to creative process is an extremely important thing when it comes to making games or anything else creative, because more often than not, creative people allow themselves to get into a place where it's very hard to get out of. I keep saying, for me, exercise is an amazing thing to balance myself out, and I feel like, when you are facing any problems, just doing even a 20-minute session really resets your brain and makes you feel a lot better.
I think one of the other things that I've noticed from you getting more, like you're using more increasingly over the last 7 weeks, is previously when something was a problem or you had a bug or something, you would bring it into a conversation like it was the worst thing in the world, and I think you were kind of already pre-setting yourself up for this putting you at risk, or this already actually delaying your launch timeline or whatever it is that you were going for. And so it was almost like you
allowed yourself to fail before you failed.
You were setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
Hey, Finny. Instead of what I've noticed over the past 7 weeks is you come out and you say, monitors, it was a really good example. Blah, 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 blah. This is just frustrating me. and then just like taking 5 minutes to just talk it through in a different environment, a different space, and then we come up with a solution. And 9 times out of 10, like you're almost already there anyway. And I think it's just that way of verbalizing it out loud doesn't give it any power over you. You just go, this is a moment in time. I can't control that it's happened, but I can damn well control the way I'm going to respond to it. So I'm going to respond to it in a way that it's appropriate and doesn't make it more than it actually is. I mean, I've noticed that, and I just think, it's a massively different approach.
I completely agree, and I think that to summarize what you were saying, I think it's pretty much not complaining, not being a complainy pants about stuff, and instead of complaining, trying to actually actively look for a solution to the problem, and therefore putting yourself closer to the goal.
Yeah.
And it often happens if you are relaxed about it. I really do think so. I think that the more you complain, the more you allow your brain to go there, you're already there. This is the whole, and I'll talk about this thing a little bit more in the future, but it's the whole law of attraction thing. It's no magic. It's, whatever people think it means. To me, it's basically just, if you're putting something out there a lot, then it's going to come back to you. So if I'm going to put out negativity and continuously complaining and being down about stuff, that's going to come back to you. Whether if I remain, that's not even a sentence, if I remain positive and I am just trying to be, you don't have to be upbeat about something that's not necessarily going your way.
Well, no, because if it sucks, it sucks.
Yeah. But you become even-minded about it. Even-minded, trying to figure out a solution, and often that causes you to fund it. And
I think it's that moment of when something does suck, just letting yourself go, oh, well, this sucks. Okay, what am I going to do about it? Rather than, and it's that reframing, this sucks. Now what am I going to do about it? Rather than, oh, this sucks. Why does this always happen to me?
Exactly.
I'm never going to get anywhere.
Then you're focusing on the wrong thing.
That's exactly right, on why it's happening and why it's happening to you, and trying to work through that, when really things are going to happen. Like there's so many books that say, there's so many ways of thinking about it, but there's always going to be problems. You just have a different class of problem.
That's just not
when you solve this one.
Yeah, that's just
everyone has them.
Yeah.
Life has problems. Life is about problems. Life's about problem solving.
People thinking that your goal being to get rid of problems, that's never going to happen. I completely agree with that. You're always going to have problems, and I think to a certain extent you've got to just learn that they're always going to be there, and you just learn how to deal with them, and that's it.
Yeah, don't rail against them. Just
get better.
Go balls to the wall to try and solve it.
I guess somebody once told me, I was a long time ago. I was a little bit like frustrated about my creative process, my idea process, concepting, taking me too long, and it take me a few days. And somebody once told me, and he was a clever guy. He was a professor, and he said,
I thought you were going to say it was me.
"Oh, you helped me."
I make you coffee.
Christoph, he was a computer science professor, and he said to me, "Don't stress about it. That's a part of your process. That's just what happens." So, and I kind of thought about it, and not until recently did I put it into practice, and I really think it helps. You've just got to go with the flow.
Well, it's that whole river analogy, right? A river gets from A to B by taking the path of least resistance. So just go with it, like you say, go with the flow, and try and work out the kinks as they come, and eventually everything will be okay.
Anyway, so I think that pretty much hope you joined in the conversation in your head. And if you guys want to, discuss something, put some comments below. I'll be happy to talk to you, reply, etc. These are just thoughts that come to me as I work through this challenge, and again, I'll report on my findings and whether I change anything in the future. And so hopefully you enjoyed this talk, and I will see you, or not see you, you'll see me in the next video. Later, guys.